Okay, I'm so excited. So
Hello.
first, hi. Okay, so let's just start by hearing your story. Because I don't think I've ever really heard it. I've seen your posts and stuff, but I've never actually heard the full thing. So I would love to just start there.
Yes. Okay. So my story is a little crazy. It kind of has two parts. So I'm just going to start with like the first part, and then we can go into the second part and how things have changed. But so I joined this business November 19th of 2016. My family was struggling. We had, let's see, our heat had been shut off multiple times, our water. We had, I think, like 3 or 4 cars, I lost count, repossessed at the time. My husband was selling cars, and so he had a good job. I was doing hair full time. Berkeley was not even one. No, she had just turned one. Yeah, November, October. So she had turned one in October. But she was still so young. I was missing like those important moments with her, like her first, words, like the first time she was doing like these little milestones that I wanted to be a part of. And I'd always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I just didn't know that it was possible, I guess. And so I just remember praying. I was like, I don't care what is out there. Like, just drop it on me. Like, I'm ready for whatever it is that I'm like meant to do in life. Because I love doing hair, but I felt like there was still like a hole, like there was still something missing. Like I wanted to like do more basically. And so I started praying, and literally 2 weeks later, I followed Courtney Bohr on social media, and I saw the picture, of her car, where she like made crazy car payments and like paid it off. And I was like, there's no way that that's real. Like, how in the world did she do that? And I remember just like closing Instagram and just sitting my phone down and thinking to myself, like, what did I just read? Like, what did I just stumble across? Like, what is this? And I went back to her Instagram, and I just couldn't shake the idea. I like stalked her like way back to like, I think whenever she joined the business. I mean, I probably spent like 2 hours on her Instagram just reading posts and like seeing what she was able to do. And I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to work from my phone. I want to like live this lifestyle that she has. Like, I want to do that. Like, I don't know what it is that she does, but I want to do that. And so I messaged her, and, I was just asking her questions like, okay, what do you do? How do you make this money? And she was just answering my questions. At the time, I literally had no money. Like, I think I had like maybe $5 in my bank account. But I knew, and that was on a Wednesday, and I knew that Friday I had a busy schedule in the salon. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to make $400. But my family was struggling so bad that $400 that I was making that Friday was basically already spoken for. It was already going for bills. Do what? Okay. Berkeley's here, Riley's here, we're all just hanging out. So, all that money was already spoken for, but I still just couldn't shake this feeling, of wanting to join this business. And so I paid 3 of our bills, and I took my last $100, and I joined the business. Hold on, Berk. And I had literally 28 cents left in my bank account after I joined. Okay, here. Hold on. Let me give her my phone. She just fell and hit her head, and so I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So I remember having 28 cents left in my bank account, and I was just like, I either made the biggest mistake of my life, or this is like going to be the biggest blessing, and I don't know which, but we'll just see. And so I didn't even ask Brad to join. I didn't even like tell him I was going to join. I just did it. And when he got home, I was like, I joined a network marketing company. And he was like, why? And I was like, I don't know, but I think it might work. And so I just remember, like asking Courtney all of these questions, but whatever. Okay. So I joined the business because, okay, she might be quiet if we move to the living room. So let's move in there. Come on. I remember, oh gosh, hold on, y'all bear with me. We're still adjusting to this whole single mom life, but we're getting it. The boppy, will you go get it for me? That helps a lot, though. Okay, so I joined because we were struggling. And I thought that at the time, I was joining because my family needed the extra money. But it turned, and we'll get into that in my story, it turns out like God had like a much bigger plan for my journey and why I joined this business. But, I joined, joined in November. January, I promoted to Rupee. And then that March, I promoted to Diamond. So 4 months in, I hit the rank of Diamond. And on my dream board, because I'm a really visual person. And so like on my dream board, one of my dreams was to retire my husband, because I wanted us to, be that stay-at-home family, raising Berkeley, going to the zoo and just like having the time freedom to pack up and do whatever we wanted as a family. And so I made that like my number one goal of this business. And so I think that that's kind of what pushed me to Diamond so quick, because I knew that if I could get there, that would help supplement a lot of income from Brad and he could come home quicker. So he ended up in August coming home full time, and I thought that I joined this business for my family to bring in an extra income and help him with bills. Okay. Let's get to part 2 of the story, because this is where it gets kind of good. Okay, so he came home in August of last year, 2017. And you know how everybody always says Facebook and Instagram are highlight reels? It's so true, because even I posted about Brad coming home full time and me being able to retire him, which was because of It Works. It was because of this business, but it was also because I found out he had been cheating on me with a receptionist at his job. And so he came home, and I grew up in the church. He didn't. And so I was like, I want you to get in church. Like, I'm not going to like throw our marriage away because of this. I think that we can work through this, like, let's pray about it. Let's see, like, let's put God first in our relationship, and then like grow closer to him and grow closer together at the same time. And it was fine for a little bit, but recently, as of July 5th, okay, we had been at the lake and he got super drunk and he threw me. I'm going to try not to. He threw me. I was 7 months pregnant and I was holding Berkeley. And it's just, when I think back, like, why I joined this business, it was because of that. I've told this so many times and I cry like every time. But I joined, like, God put this in my life 2 years ago because he knew what my story was. He knew what was going to happen. I didn't know. I never thought that would happen to me. But, he has a greater plan. And so he put this business in my life. And here I am 2 years later. I was able to leave an abusive relationship. And literally, like, I left July 10th. July 12th, I bought a freaking car. I wasn't planning on buying a car. I just, one of the things about our relationship is every car that got repossessed was my car. So I was always the one without a car. It was never him. And since, our separation, I've kind of realized that he was like a narcissist and like controlling to me. It was just like, I was like brainwashed to all of it. But because of this business, I went to the car dealership and I was like, I'm not going to buy a car. I'm just going to see what I can do. And I was able to just buy literally a Toyota 4Runner, which was on my dream board. And I wasn't even planning on buying a car. I just went in to see what I could do. And the car salesman was like, well, I have a 2010 Toyota 4Runner. I was like, say no more. Let me see it. I want to see it. And I was able to get it. Like, that was the first car that I had ever bought. I just prayed about it and I got my dream car. 2 days after that, I went looking at apartments and I was like, because I have no credit, I just had no credit. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get an apartment. Like, I'm going to have to move back in with my mom and dad. Came and looked at these apartments. They did a credit check and they're like, no, you're approved. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, well, this is awesome. And so I was able to, leave that relationship, buy a car, get an apartment, pay all of my bills. Like, literally all of my bills are on auto draft. Like, I don't have to sit here and worry anymore about going and paying bills. Like, I know that I can sit here and take care of Berkeley and Riley and like everything's paid for. And so whenever you hear people say like every 6 months you go through some life-changing, thing, like, that's so true. And you're not going to know, like what it is that you go through, but that's basically my story. I joined thinking that I was like helping Brad bring in an extra $200 to $300 a month, when really I joined to get my foot in the door and get my, my business built to where it is for this reason. So it's just incredible when you stick it out and you're consistent with everything, like the doors that will open.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for like, I'm going to cry too. Goodness gracious. Thank you for opening up to us, for, just sharing that. Cause like, obviously that's like something you have to be really vulnerable about. So I appreciate that and your honesty. And I mean, there may be somebody on this Zoom. Oh, I think I'm like freezing. So just let me know if you can't hear me, but there may be somebody on this Zoom, like, I don't know, that is going through that, and like they feel like they're alone, and now they just heard your story and they realize that they're not. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And a couple of things I wrote down while you were talking, because I always like to take notes. So you had $5 in your bank account. You went to work, and like you're like, okay, Friday I'm gonna make $400, but that $400 went to something else, but you made it work anyways.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times we come into contact with people who say, you know, well, I get paid on Friday, but I won't be able to do it until the paycheck after that. Well, I think it's really important to remind them that if you're living paycheck to paycheck, there is no such thing as saving money, because a birthday will come or a tire will blow, and you have to spend a little bit of money that you've saved, or you put it on a credit card because you don't have anything saved. So there's always something. So I always like to encourage people to think outside of the box besides just, you know, like using their paycheck. Well, okay, well, I don't have a paycheck, so I can't do it till this week. Well, maybe there's a bill that you can push back a little bit and you can join this business. And that sounds crazy, but I mean, if you're in this situation, nothing changes if nothing changes. So you've got to take drastic measures. I know Jade Hooper didn't pay her, which is your upline, didn't pay her cell phone bill to join this business. I'm pretty sure is the thing that she
and I chose not to pay my water bill because I was like, I know like they're going to send me like a disconnection notice or whatever, and like I have a little bit of leeway with that. And so I didn't pay my water bill on time, joined the business, and then got my business builder kit, sold the wraps, took that $100 to pay my water bill. And so I was like, you know, I'm going to make it work.
Yeah, exactly. I like that, because moral of the story is if you want this bad enough, you're going to find a way to do it. You know, like you'll find a way to get that $100, like whether it's mowing a yard or walking somebody's dog for money or selling clothes to Plato's Closet, but good luck because it only take like 2 things. You know, like literally there's so many ways you can come up with the money. So I like that. And then another thing that you said, and it's funny because I'm about to do like a whole I told you so to my team, because you said, because I tell people all the time, and they if they come to me and they say, I feel like I'm annoying people with my posts. And and they'll say, you know, I feel like I post the same thing a lot, and I feel like I'm annoying people because I post the same sort of stuff a lot. Number one, I remind them that not everybody sees every post that they make, which is true, because even your best friends, you don't even see all of their posts, and they're like, do you see my thing on Facebook? And you're like, what are you talking about? So that's the first thing. But the second thing I always tell them is there are people on your newsfeed praying for an opportunity like this to come into their life. And the fact that you said you were literally praying to God, drop something in my lap that will change my situation, and you saw Courtney's post, told you so. Because people really do pray for these types of opportunities. And you never know somebody's situation. And it's crazy because the people that you see their social media and you're like, they would never need this business because their life is perfect. Again, you said that it's a highlight reel, and that's so true. We have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. And even if they don't need this business now, just like you said, every 6 months to 9 months, there's a huge life change. Maybe they got pregnant. Maybe they went through a divorce or a separation. Maybe they got a new job, or maybe they lost their job. You don't know what happened. So even if 6 months ago they weren't interested, they might be now. Or you never know if their life is really as great as they make it seem on Facebook or Instagram. So reach out to people anyways, and don't stereotype people and say this person would be interested. They would not. They would not. Don't put people in categories. Just post and share about your life and share about other people's successes, and reach out to everybody, because you just never know. So I'm really glad that you said that, because that kind of puts like a face to what I was saying, because like somebody like you actually did that, you know, and now here you are, double diamond, paying for all this stuff by yourself, and you're totally rocking it as a single mom. So that's and I actually told Derek about like your story and stuff, because I was making the Zoom like graphic yesterday, and he was, what are you doing? And he was like, who's that girl? And I was telling him a little bit about your story and everything, and he was like, that's why God gave her this business.
Yes.
That's why he gave her this business, because he knew that was going to happen. And like, you know, and I was like, I'm sure she didn't ever join for that, because you know, your situation was so different back whenever you joined. And I was like, that's so crazy. Like, what would have happened if you didn't say yes? You know, like, you probably don't even want to think about it.
And that's what, you know, I was telling my best friends, because they came over on a Monday. I think that it was like, well, no, I don't remember. They came over one day after the whole situation happened, and I was like, this is why God put this in my life, because now I have the means to leave this relationship. And it really kind of like, it gives me chills to think about, because another thing on my dream board is I've always wanted to give to a charity, like some kind of charity, but I had no clue. Like, whenever I joined the business, I put that on my dream board, and I was like, I don't know what charity I'm going to give to, because I don't know what, like, I'm passionate about right now, like, charity wise, but there's going to be some charity that I want to give to. And now I'm going to give to, like, a domestic violence charity, or, like, you know, like the crisis center here, because I went to the crisis center, and like, I told them everything. I was like, because part of me was scared to leave, because, you know, with this business, like, yes, I'm growing my savings account, but I didn't have, like, you know, the $7,000 to go drop on an attorney. My aunt had to help me with that, and I'm like paying her back. But it's like, you know, the things that this business has helped me do in this situation. And, you know, I was scared to leave because of, like, his mom. She has a ton of money, and I was like, she's going to try to take my kids away from me. Like, how am I going to be a single mom? Like, I'm going to be lonely. And, you know, everybody's just like, you have to do what's best for you. And I'm like, if I didn't have this business, I would have still been in that relationship. And it's not funny. Like, I kind of chuckle about it now, but I'm pretty sure, like, he cheated on me last August, and I'm pretty sure he was actually cheating on me, like, before I left in July, because he already has a girlfriend. But yeah.
That's crazy. Well, and it's cool too, because, like, we all go through so many things in our life that are so, like, unpredictable, whether it's like a flat tire or whatever. And, like, this business has given us the opportunity to be able to do those types of things we never would have been able to do. You moving out and being able, and I told Derek yesterday, I was like, she literally gets to be a stay-at-home mom, and she just works her business, and she doesn't have to leave her kids with anyone. She doesn't have to worry. Like, I mean, if you were to leave that situation and you didn't have this business, like, you'd be looking for childcare, paying for that, and, like, doing pickups and drop-offs. And I was like, she literally just is with her kids, and she works as in store phone, and she gets to own her own time. And that's so cool.
When I look at, because, like, when I joined, you know, we were living in this 2-bedroom, 2-bath duplex. And when I told him, I was like, when I go double, we're moving into a house. Like, I want to move into a house. And, you know, we did that. Like, you probably saw, like, we moved into, like, this gorgeous house. I was freaking obsessed with it. And then all of that happened, and I was like, this house is too big. I am not staying here by myself. And we moved in April, and I left in July. And so I had only been there for, like, a few months. And I was like, I'm not staying here. Like, I'm not doing this by myself. And so I was literally able to, like, get a house and then move from that house and get an apartment, like, you know, within a short amount of time. And it's just crazy, like, you know, what I've been able to do.
It really is. Like, that's why I wanted you to get on the Zoom. So I was like, this girl is incredible. Like, that's literally amazing. So what does your typical day look like with this business and with your kids? We have a lot of moms on here, and I was like, y'all better get on the Zoom, because she is killing it with this. So yeah.
So I had a schedule. I was, you know, when I first joined, I was, like, super schedule oriented. I was like, you know, we're going to have dinner here and, like, do this and do that. And now I'm on no schedule. I, like, haven't been on a schedule for a while, just because, like, since Berkeley got older and she doesn't just, like, stay in one place and she doesn't nap anymore, it's like my days are never the same. So we wake up around 10:30, have coffee. That's normally when I first wake up. That's whenever, you know, I do my devotionals, things like that. And then I get on Facebook, and I just kind of, like, check notifications, check all of the team pages, you know, get in my chats, you know, check all of that. And then I'll probably around, like, noon, 1-ish, I'll do my first post. Now that Riley's here, sometimes I'm kind of, like, off of that time that I, like, give myself. So I basically make sure that I post at least twice a day. You know, I'm always posting on my stories. And so I tell my team, you know, like, you don't want to post too much to your actual Facebooks and Instagrams, because I guess, you know, not really making people annoyed with my posts, but I try to do, like, one, like, business post a day, and then just one, like, filler post. And on Facebook, I'll do like a product post every single day as well. But Instagram, I try to just keep that like more like business post and like filler post. And then my story on Instagram, that's where I just like mass put everything. And so I'm kind of like doing all of that throughout the day. But really, like, I have no schedule, you guys. Like, I know that I have to work this business every day. And so I work it. And, sometimes I feel silly telling people that, but it's like, I wake up and I know like, okay, if I want to keep bringing in an income with this, like I have to work. And so how do you work? Okay, well, you post to social media. So I just make sure that I'm posting. I'm making sure that I'm putting things on my stories because honestly, that's where I get all of my customers. Me and Shay, we're best friends. Y'all, I think y'all know that. But, we've been doing this experiment because we still message, but we're not messaging as much because I'm finding more people coming to me now from posting on my story. Like, it sounds crazy, but like if you like put a ton of things on your story and you're showing like befores and afters and like screenshotting your text, like checking up with your customers and like putting those screenshots, people are seeing what customers are having to say, plus they're seeing their actual results. And that's what's getting a lot of people to actually just message me and come to me. And it's easier to seal the deal because they're like, hey, I'm coming to you interested in these products. They sign up versus like messaging. And then they're like, oh, well, I can order this day. And then they don't. So Shay actually didn't message at all last month and only posted on her story. And then this month she's messaging, but she's only signed one customer from messaging this month or last month. It's a new month. So, but I just post and follow my, grow my network and post to my story.
Yeah, I don't have a schedule either. And I think a lot of people try to overcomplicate it. So if you're trying to figure out like, okay, when do I do this? And when do I do this? And when do I do this? Like, write a list of what you've got to get done and figure out a time to do it. And if it helps you to do that beforehand, like the night before, for me, I've got busy days. I don't have kids, but I'm married and our life is freaking hectic as anything. And so for me, like I've already written down my Tuesday schedule and highlighted it. Like I already know what I have to do and I don't have a time next to any of those. I don't know when I'm going to get all of that done, but I usually sit down for an hour, knock out as many of the things as I can. And that's like little things like follow-ups, doing an Insta story, texting my new distributors, unfollow, follow, message people on Facebook, happy birthday, doing little things for my team, like I'm making a new distributor training, stuff like that. Like those little things I'll get done in an hour. And then throughout my day, my crazy day, or maybe it's like a Netflix day, because I work from home, whatever it is, no matter how busy or not busy your schedule is, figure it out and then message throughout the day. Like you can easily do this business. So don't overcomplicate it because whenever I first started doing this business full time, I remember I quit the job where I was a waitress. And the next day I wrote out, it's so funny to think about because it was like, LOL, that was never going to happen. I wrote out 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Wake up, do my devotion. 10 to 10:30 message. 10:30 to 10:40 unfollow. It was like so stupid.
I feel like that's how I was. And I feel like when you try to work the business like that, you stress yourself out, you get overwhelmed, and then you just kind of like lose track of time and don't get anything done. Because then you look at your schedule and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm behind schedule. Like I was supposed to be doing this at this time and I'm not. That's why like if you just, figure out what you have to do. Okay, you have to post, you have to message, you have to grow your network, find times throughout the day that you can do that and then just do it.
Yep. And I think and it takes the fun out of it. Like, like have stuff that you've got. Like, I write stuff down and I'm very organized, but I don't have a schedule and I just get it all done. Why? Done because I have a really strong why and I know what the heck I'm doing and I know why the heck I'm doing it. So it all goes back to, like you said, if I don't work, I'm not going to keep making an income. And I'm doing this so that I can stay at home with my 2 kids. Like, that's your why. And that's a strong why. And if you don't have kids, guess what? You can still have a strong why, even if they're not your kids. Like, I don't have kids, and I have a strong why that makes me wake up in the morning to get my crap done too. So if you don't have a why, then the rest of it's not going to do it. Like, why would you work? But if you have a strong why, the how will take care of itself. You know what you need to do, so do it. There's like 6 things that you can do every single day to grow your business, and then do it as many times as you can. And be consistent, do it every single day, and it'll add up to double diamond, big success, being able to stay at home with your kids, paying off debt, all that stuff.
Yeah. And I always tell everybody, just make it a priority. Like if you have if you had an office job, you would wake up every day and you would go to work and you would do that. I've never had an office job, but you would do whatever you do at an office job. And it's like, today I woke up, I went and got my hair done. And while I was sitting there getting my hair done, I was messaging. I posted, messaged people, grew my network, worked a little bit, talked to my hairstylist. After I did that, what did I do? I went to Chick-fil-A. While I was sitting in the drive-thru, I posted again. Then I went to Target. Before I got out of the car, I sat there and responded to messages. And then we went to see, one of my distributors. She just had her baby. Our babies are like 18 days apart. We went to the hospital to see her. And like while I was there, I had already been working throughout the day. So I was able to take an hour and a half off and not worry about responding to these messages. When I got home, responded to messages, gave Berkeley a bath, got her dinner made, and here we are doing this. So it's like when you make it a priority and just fit it into your schedule, it just kind of falls together.
And you get used to it too. Like that stuff just becomes second nature. Like people ask me like, well, I have so many errands to run all day and like blah, blah, blah. Like you said, I make posts in the drive-thru. Like I'm walking through, Meijer to get food and groceries, and like, well, I technically don't because I use Shipt, which is a really great thing. Y'all should all get Shipt. But if I'm walking through a store grabbing something quick, I will be messaging on my phone while I'm walking to grab that thing, grab it, whatever. And then whenever I am with people and I'm at Bible study, I'm able to be at Bible study. I'm not on my phone. I don't have to message and reply back to people. So you do get to have both, but you have to be consistent and disciplined with the time that you do have to work your business to actually do that, and to stop scrolling mindlessly and to stop watching Netflix or whatever you're doing that's a time waster. Okay, so hang on, I'm going back to this. Okay, so this said just like how do you manage your time with all your little ones, and then in this business, and what keeps you going on the days that you don't feel like working. So you kind of already answered the first part. So obviously, like, not every day, even though you need to because of the babies, like you're gonna do it for them, but like I'm sure every single day you don't wake up and think, I'm so excited to be a networks distributor and I'm so ready to go post a message. It's going to be the best day ever. Like we wake up and we're like, ugh, I don't want to do my follow-ups today. I don't feel like it. But what do you do that keeps you motivated?
So, I kind of like had to kick myself in the butt because when I came home, let's see, Riley was born on the 12th, and probably for like a week, I slacked. I think it was like I had baby blues, and so I was like crying like every 5 seconds, and I was like, I'm alone, I'm doing this by myself, I'm tired, like I don't want to do anything. And I did watch a lot of Netflix, and I remember like one day I just woke up and I was like, you literally just wasted a week of your business. Like you could have been sitting there crying and watching Netflix and messaging all at the same time. Like get over it and like do what you have to do. But I think what keeps me going, especially now that like, when me and Brad were together, he didn't really bring in an income. Well, he didn't bring in an income. I paid all the bills. But in the back of my mind, I think I let him kind of be like a comfort for me. I was like, well, if my paychecks start dropping or something, like he can just go get a job and like help me bring in an income, And now I can't say that, if my paycheck drops, it's me. Like if my paycheck drops and, I can't afford my bills, I have to go get a job. And if I have to go get a job, that means that I have to pay for like daycare for 2 kids, which I don't even know. I'm probably like $2,000. Like it's crazy expensive. And so I'm like, I can't afford that. Like I'm not, that's not going to happen. And so I think it's just knowing that like I am in control of like the money, the income, like I'm the one providing for these kids. Like, you have to do it because this is crappy on his part, but like, he's supposed to pay child support. He's not doing that. He didn't pay child support last month. And so it's like, okay, clearly I'm not going to have help from him. And so Riley needs diapers and Berkeley needs things. And it's like, I have to provide that. And he was supposed to get health insurance. He hasn't done that. And, you know, I don't have health insurance. And so I have to pay out of pocket, which is another, you know, blessing from It Works, because Riley's 1 week and 2 week checkup, I was able to pay for out of pocket without insurance. And it's just like, you know, this is me doing this. And so I guess it's just, you know, Berkeley and Riley motivate me, because I'm like, I'm your mom, and, you know, I want to give you the life that you deserve. So that's what makes me go.
I like that. And then the thing too is, like with any why, you have to just make it strong enough. Like, even if it's not your kids and like where you're in a position where you like desperately need this, because I know that not everybody is. So if you are, take what she said, and that's like perfect. And if you're not, like, I mean, okay, so Carley and I both make really good money with this business. So we could easily pay our bills with what we're making now, but that's not good enough. For me, I want to make more than what I'm making now. And why? It's not because I need to pay my bills. And because if I, you know, stop making the money that I'm making now, I can't pay my bills. It's because I want to be able to, I mean, Derek and I have talked about crazy stuff, guys. And like, I mean, I'll share with y'all a little bit of the stuff that we talked about, because we're in a position now where we have paid off our debt. Like, we're completely debt free except for his student loans. And we're going to have those paid off by July, only because we're going to get a house first. And so we're going to get a house. We're going to pay off his student loans. And we're talking about like his grandpa, one of his grandpas just passed away last Wednesday, actually. So we were at the funeral today, but his other grandpa was in the hospital last month for like a random like stroke, brain bleed, like all this stuff. And Derek's mom was telling us that she had called him the next day. He's totally fine now, which we're really thankful for. But she called him the next day, and they're missionaries, and so they don't really make a whole lot of money probably. And they have health insurance, but it's not like the best, like where they're like, cool, piece of cake, don't have to worry about it. And the first thing that he said whenever she called him, and this was the day after he had a stroke, not even 12 hours later, he said, I don't know how I'm going to afford this. And that broke my heart. That broke my heart, because they're so sweet and the most giving people. And so I looked at Derek one day, and I said, so we paid off my car. We had the money to do it at the time. We hadn't actually done it. We have now. But I said, all right, we have the money to pay off our car. I'm looking ahead into the next few months. Like, we have the money to pay for a house. So my why can no longer be to get a house, because now we're just waiting on the time for it. We have the finances for it. So we have to get a new why. And so I was like, what's our new why? And he said, we're going to start helping our family. He was like, we're going to start paying off their debt. And I said, I want to help your grandpa. And he said something about like $10,000, which is the amount that I had in my head. And we want to give them $10,000 towards their medical bills. And we don't know how much they cost. We don't even know if they know yet. But we want to do it anonymously, and just to be able to give to people that way. Like, that's why I need to make more than what I'm making now, is because we want to give lavishly to people where we don't even have to worry about that stuff, you know? Like, just give stuff away to people, because like, you can't take money with you whenever you die. So if you can use that to help somebody else and benefit their life, why not do it? And so I need to make more than what I'm making now. And so my drive is bigger than I am, because I watched this video from a guy named Inky Johnson, and I share this video all the time. So I'm probably like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about. But, you know, and I didn't say that, by the way, to like puff myself up or for y'all to be like, oh my gosh, you're so great. Not at all. But I'm just showing you that like, it doesn't matter. Like, people probably look at me and they're like, why does she have to make more money? Because it's bigger than me now. It's bigger than my stuff. It's bigger than my bills. It's bigger than my debt. It's about other people now. And the video that Inky Johnson does, he's a football player, or he was, and he said at some point your why has to be bigger than you, because at some point you're going to hit a wall, and it's going to make you quit because you don't have a driving force behind why you do what you do. And so if you've got a strong enough why, it's going to keep you pushing on those days that you don't feel like doing it. So I don't feel like getting up, but guess what? There are people out there who desperately need the help that I can give them, because of what It Works is allowing us to do. Yes. And so that's what keeps me going every day. And so whatever point and stage of your life that you're in, know that that this business can make that happen, and that the Lord's brought this opportunity into your life for a reason, whether it's for you to be able to pay your bills or so that you can get other people out of debt, whatever it is, but just use that why, have the reason and have the dollar amount, and put those two together, because those two things together are what's going to make it strong enough so you can look at that and that be something that you don't want to give up on, because you don't want to give up on that big thing that you're going for. So, we don't always feel like working, and that's not why we're successful, is because we wake up every morning excited. It's because we get excited through the work. Like, don't work based on how you feel, work based on what you want. Every single day I don't feel like doing it, but whenever I start to work, it makes me excited, because, today was Derek's grandpa's funeral. Like, I didn't feel like working, but then they came out with the half off kits, and we had a 3-hour drive back home. So I started messaging people. I started posting and doing Insta stories, and I signed up 3 distributors, and just hearing them talk about what they need in their life got me excited. Them asking me how I joined the business and sharing my story with them got me excited again. And so you start to feel that fire again in yourself, because you're just doing the work that it takes to get to where you want to go. So sometimes you need to just do the work, and that's what's going to get you pumped up, because you're not going to be on your own. Okay, so speaking of half off kits, what are your best tips for signing up distributors? Is it usually through polls or what? And then, what was the second question? Oh, and then how are you taking advantage of the half off kits? Like, are you going back to old potentials? Are you just talking to new people, messaging new people, just instant polls? What are you doing?
Okay, so to sign distributors, my best tip is to be vulnerable. Like, whatever put your story out there. People don't like to talk about their struggles. Like I said earlier, highlight reels. You like to only share the good things on social media. I remember when I first started this business, it wasn't hard for me, like, to talk about, struggles, because I remember times being at the grocery store, trying to buy formula and my card declining. I remember, going to the grocery store and having like a cart full of the buggy full of groceries, and like my card declines, and like literally having to like push this cart forward and then just walk away and leave it is the most embarrassing. Like, it's the worst feeling in the world, because like there's people behind you seeing you do this. There's people next to you, the cashier, and you're just like, don't even look at me, just put a paper bag over my face, and like, I'm not here. Like, it was so embarrassing, but I went through that. And so whenever I joined this business, I started talking about that. I put out there, like, I wasn't even a Ruby yet, but I remember saying, like, I'm going to go Ruby and get a $500 bonus and be making an extra $500 a month. And I'm not going to have to worry about, my card declining, because that's going to pay for groceries for the month, things like that. There was somebody out there who could relate to that. Or there's somebody out there who their card just declined at the grocery store, and they're going to be at the grocery store the next time, and they're going to have that feeling in their gut, like, oh my gosh, is my card going to decline? And then they're going to remember my post about, having to go through that struggle, and now I don't. And then they're going to message me wanting to join the business. And so put your struggles out there, get over the fact that, yes, it's embarrassing, but it's your story. It's part of what's making you you. It's making you stronger. It's getting you to where you're going to be in life. Just like now, I haven't put on social media that, like, I'm going through a divorce, but people can see that. People see Brad's not in any of your posts anymore. I have started posting a little bit about being a single mom, and people are messaging me, telling me, like, hey, I don't know what you're going through, but I feel like our stories are similar. Like, I just left my husband and I'm worried about finances and blah, 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 blah. And I'm able to tell them my story now and what this business has done for me. And they're like, oh my gosh, okay, sign me up. So sharing your personal, like, life journey will help you find the people that you need for this business. Because I don't message for distributors. I did when I first joined, and I just found that the distributors that I was signing on from doing that were the people who didn't necessarily need this business. And so, yeah, they would sign on, they would work for a month or two, but then they would quit. But the people who came to me and they were like, I need this to work, I need this extra income, they're the ones who are going, Emerald and Diamond, and they're the ones who are like my main legs, because they needed this. You know what I mean? So my best tip to get distributors is to be vulnerable, talk about your struggles, make your life post a life post, put it out there. And then how I work my business, or how I get, what was the second question?
How are you taking advantage of the half off kit?
Okay. So I am super OCD and I write everything down. And so literally from the November that I joined this business, I got a binder and a notebook. Obviously I have more notebooks now, but I have sections in my notebooks. One is like a potential customer section. The other one's a potential distributor. So anybody that I've ever talked to about products or about being a distributor, I have their name written down. And so whenever we have a deal like this, I pull out those notebooks, and anybody who isn't highlighted means that they haven't signed up yet. I will literally follow up with all of them. And so I have pages and pages and pages of potential distributors that I will probably spend the next few days just messaging, being like, hey, it's only $50 to join right now, even though when it was $20 to join, I messaged them. When it was $49 before, I messaged them. When it was $10 before, I messaged them. Like, I will continue to message them until they just sign up, block me, or say no. So I definitely just, follow up. And then I'm also, posting about it, getting new potentials in. So I guess it's a little bit of both, just following up with old potentials, but also getting new ones.
Okay, awesome. And then, yeah, I'm basically doing the same thing just to give other tips too. Like, I'm going back to my old DTs, and or my old potentials, I usually put their names and then PDT next to them in my contacts. So now I can literally just go into my messages and search PDT, and I'll find their name, and then I'll just send them a message that just says, hey, I know you were interested in the business before. I want to make it as simple as possible, because the more complex it is, the more catchy I feel like I made it. It's going to look so copied and pasted. So, and they can sense that, and it almost seems disingenuous. And so I usually message them just something very simple, and I say, hey, I know you were interested in the business before, and for whatever reason you stopped replying, and that's fine, but I had to let you know that right now it's only $49 instead of $99. Do you still want to join, or am I bugging you? Something like that. Like, do you want me to leave you alone, or is there a little part of you that's still interested? Yes. And then based on what they say, get them started, or that they're just not interested yet, and that in 6 to 9 months they could have a life change that then they might be interested again. So no doesn't ever mean no forever. It just means no for now. And they're not saying no to you, so don't be afraid to get a no. Because if somebody, if you're walking into, I think a lot of people are nervous to message people because they're like, well, what if they tell me no? Okay, well, what if they do tell you no? Well, if I'm going to go, and if I work at a store and I say, by the way, like, if you wanted to go ahead and grab a pair of jeans to go with that top, it'll look super cute, and that person tells me no, I'm not going to go in the back and cry because they didn't order that pair of jeans or buy that jeans, because it didn't have anything to do with me. And it's the same thing with this business. It has nothing to do with you. They're saying no to the opportunity for now. They're not saying no to you. It doesn't hurt your feelings, so it shouldn't. Okay, I like that. So, I was gonna ask you another thing, but you already said that basically. Okay, whenever you sign up distributors, what is your, how do you train them? Do you do, lots of videos? Do you do lots of voice messages? Do you have scripts that you send? If you make them do a first post, what kind of post is it? What messages do you have them send? Because I'm revamping my stuff, so I'm getting some ideas here.
Yes. So what I do is once they've signed on, I have them log into eSuite right off the bat and get off commission hold. I have them fill out that tax information, because I get so frustrated whenever I sign on a distributor and I see that they're on commission hold because they haven't filled out the tax information. I'm like, you're not going to get paid until you do this. And it literally takes 3 seconds. So log into your eSuite, make sure, click important tax information needed, make sure everything's correct, submit it. So I have them do that. And then from there, I have them go and put a picture on their website, because for me, I've had a lot of distributors who have the same name as another distributor, and they send somebody their website, and then their potential ends up on the other person's website, and then it just becomes a mass confusion. And so I have all my distributors upload a picture to their website. And then once that's done, we work on their first post. So whenever they do their first post, I tell them, I think it's something like, tell a story, like why you wanted to do this, what it's going to do for you, where it's going to take you, talk about how you're going to get, right now, are the bonuses still good? Like, yeah, the Ruby bonus is still good. So like right now, if somebody joined, I would tell them, like, talk about how you just joined, you're going to get a $5,000 bonus, you're going to be making this, like, put that out there. Once they do their first post, I send them a message Well, I have them make their dirt list. And so I tell them, like, make a list of like 30 people who, if you were selling dirt, they would support you because you're you and they love you. Most people are like, I can't think of 30 people who would do that who would buy dirt from me. I'm like, okay, don't take it so literal. Like, just think, people who would want to support you. And, some people are like, well, I can only think of 10. And I'm like, that's fine. We can start there. So just have them make a list of like their top few people that they're going to message. I send them a message and then I tell them, send me screenshots. Like, you're going to send this message. And then as that person responds to you, like, I don't care if they just said, what is this? Take a screenshot of it and send it to me so I can, like, I walk them through the conversations, because I think a lot of signing on customers, well, I know it is, it's how you talk to them. And when you're a brand new distributor, you don't have that confidence. You don't know what products do what, or, how to really talk to people about the products. And so I literally basically hold my new distributor's hand, walking them through these conversations. Like, they send me the screenshot and I just reply what I would say, have them send it. If that person replies again, send me a screenshot. So, when there's deals like this, I'm like super busy because I'm just replying to my new distributors and all these screenshots, which sometimes it gets overwhelming, but it's so worth it because that helps my distributors get their first 4 customers so quick. Like, almost all of my distributors get their first 4 customers in their first 2 days because we're doing that and it's helping them seal the deal. Once they get their first 4 customers, I tell them, okay, now I want you to focus on getting 2 distributors. And so that's really all I do. And then I check in with them, I tag them. I have a team page, and so in my team page, I have a live video on, like, it's a new distributor training that I tag them in, and then it's also a video on going over how to get your first 4 customers. So those are really, every now and then, if I think that person might not really it might not click for them, sometimes I'll have people watch the videos in Training Academy. But I don't know if anybody actually does that. I just tell them, watch the videos in Training Academy, and I don't think they do.
Yeah, I don't really have my new DTs do the Training Academy, only because, like, if they're green and they really want to know, they'll do it. But if they're not, then they're probably, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I never did it, and I was just fine.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I feel like a lot of people that might lose their attention, and, like, if somebody told me I had to go watch, like, 8 training videos, I would have been like, never mind.
Yeah.
Just because I would be more hands-on and, like, learn from messing up, basically, which is what I did. So, all right, well, last question, is there, like, anything, I know this is, like, kind of putting you on the spot because I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, so if not, that's okay. But I was just going to say, like, is there any other, like, last, like, thought or anything that you have on your heart or something that you've just been kind of sharing with your team over and over again lately, just, like, that would get people fired up, just like one last thing to leave them with, like whether it's a tip or a mindset thing or an encouragement, anything?
Yeah, so like right before I had Riley, I did a live video in my team page because we got it was right after we got paid? Yes. Or when we saw our prelims or something. Yeah, it was when we saw our prelims. And I had a lot of people who were like, because I had a lot of girls go diamond last month, and at least like 2 of them messaged me and they were like, I thought the average was this. And I'm just like, that's the average. You can make more or you can make less. And so I did a live video because I think with me, with this business, I didn't really care like what exact amount I was making. Like, oh, the average is, $2,000 or whatever. Like, my first diamond check was not $2,000. It was like $1,500 or something like that. But I didn't sit there and say like, oh, it wasn't the average. Like, this isn't good enough. Like, I looked at it like I just made $1,500 from my phone. This is money that I didn't have. And so, one, be grateful for whatever it is that you're getting out of this business, because if you keep working and you keep growing, that's going to keep growing. Okay. And also remember that your paycheck reflects your efforts. If you're sitting here and you're not really putting in that much work, your paycheck is not going to be that much. And, I went over like all of like every single paycheck with my team. I was like, look, this is what it was my first month. My second month, it was this. And I was showing them how like it would drop, it would fluctuate. There was some months, where it was just crazy. And, I remember like, I was just talking to them like, whatever you're going through isn't going to, well, I told them, I think it was because last month I made my highest paycheck. I mean, like my check was over $7,000 last month. And I just like broke down crying because I was like, I'm going through a divorce, you know, I'm about to have a baby, and I just made $7,000 from my phone. And I was just like, I kept telling myself, because I told my team and I kept telling myself, like, what you're going through is not going to define you. Like, you know, you're still you, like, you keep pushing. And it was just like, to see my check jump that much, I was just like, I did that, you know, going through this crap, I still did that. And so I guess just be grateful and keep pushing, you know, don't get upset when something doesn't go your way, because there were times where, you know, I was a diamond and my paycheck was $1,200. And I was like, you know, what am I doing? But, you know, I had to sit there and ask myself, and I ask my team this all the time. Anytime somebody complains to me about their check, I just ask them this question. You know, if Mark called us into his office every payday and he actually wrote us a check, you know, and we look back at my efforts last month, did it reflect a double diamond $7,000 paycheck? Did I deserve that? Did I put in that work? You know, I did. I busted my butt, you know. And so every single time that I get paid, I think I kind of like look back and I'm like, okay, you know, if you're upset about this, because there was one month that I thought it was going to be a really high check. I was like, dang, my group volume was high. You know, I've enrolled all these customers, like my team is doing great. And my check was lower than what I expected it to be. And instead of being there throwing a pity party, I was like, okay, but did you really put in all the effort that you could have put in, you know? And if you can sit there and say, like, I gave it my all, then, you know, so be it. But if you could sit there and say, I probably could have done a little bit more, you know, go with that. So I think just, you know, be grateful for what you're getting, for what you have. And if you're not satisfied with something, you're in control of that. Like, if you want to make more with this business, go make more. There's nobody telling you that you can't make more. It's all what you want to do.
I love that so much. And one last thing I'll say about that, I'll just piggyback off that and then we'll be done. Sorry, hang on one second. I was trying to click spotlight video and I clicked rename. Okay, so last thing is, whenever I first started this business, and this is how it goes for everybody, is you put in a ton of effort and you get paid, like, I don't know the best way to word it, because we get paid freaking good for getting to do this on our phones. Like, but I think at the beginning, I saw my paychecks and I was like, I cannot believe that I just did that with this business on my phone in like 30 minutes a day. I just made all this extra money and now I get to pay for my car note, whatever. But at some point, like, because you feel like you're working really hard and then you make however much money, okay? You keep working that same amount, okay? You stay consistent every single day, just like we were talking about earlier. You do the same things over and over and over and over and over and over and over. You don't have to change anything. You want to work more because you just retired yourself because you just kept doing the same thing over and over again. Get to the point where you can retire yourself. Then you want to work a little bit more, go for it. Keep on working. Stay consistent, and guess what? You're going to start making that money. Like, you are working this much or making this much. That's about to go like this, because you're still working that same amount, but you're growing a team and you're teaching them what to do. So then now that's what residual income is. A lot of people think that residual income, which is what we make, that's what network marketing is, especially the way that It Works Global has their compensation plan set up, is to be residual income. Praise the Lord for residual income. And people think that that's whenever you join a business and you work and you can stop working and still make that income. That's not residual income. Residual income isn't where, I mean, it is where you do one thing, like do something one time and continue to get paid on it, yes. But residual income is really where you go from making money off of the work that you're doing to where you have 10 people on your team and you're teaching every single one of them how to do what you just did, and they go out and make their own money. And now you're making money, like you're getting paid based off of the efforts of yourself plus 10 other people. So you're working 1 hour, but you're getting paid on 11 hours of work, and you still work just 1 hour. And then you get a team where it's 700 people and you're still working that 1 to 2 hours a day, but you're not getting paid on 2 hours that day. You're getting paid on 300 hours that day because 300 people on your team work for 1 hour. And that's how you make residual income. So if you keep growing your team and doing this as success, that's all you have to do. Stop overcomplicating it. You will start to see those $7,000 checks. You will start to see those checks that make you cry and that totally change your freaking life forever, because you're like, how in the world do I make this type of income with this business? Is because you do the same thing every single day. And every day that you take off, it takes 2 days to get back in. So choose your days off wisely, AKA don't take them. Do something every day for your business. It's not that hard. It's really not. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for hopping on this Zoom and taking an hour out of your day. I know you're so crazy with all of your kids, and I'm sure that they've got all of the things that they're needing to do. So I really, really appreciate it. And for you being, vulnerable and opening up to us and giving us all these tips. I know I'm excited about this month, and I'm going to use your tips to just, keep going in my business. So I'm really excited, but thank you so much. And we're really appreciative, and we're rooting for you to go triple. And
it's happening this month. My double is literally like 2,800 away. So I'm like,
okay, well, we're rooting for you. I'm excited. Okay. Well, y'all have a great rest of your night and have an awesome week. Let's start this month strong. Bye, guys.
bye.